Vanakkam, Gurudeva and everyone. Wonderful to be with you. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Listening to the song, interesting, it related to Yogaswami quote I read this morning, Ingum Angum Yengum, so recognize that. So Yogaswami's quote was, God is everywhere. Oh, it is clear to me that God is everywhere, and so am I, but this body must remain in this hut. So there's part of us that's always omnipresent, but part of us is sitting in our hut. We're not all omnipresent. All of us isn't omnipresent. So we'll share the screen, see if we can do that here, August 27th. Okay, that didn't work. Share. There we go. August 27th. And our first topic, we're doing starting a series that we did a few years ago, but we have lots of new individuals who didn't see it, and it's always good to review after a few years. Climbing the ladder of consciousness. So it's an assembly, compilation of a number of different ideas from Gurudeva's teachings. It's not just a one pub desk. So it's divided into parts, and part one is so short, we're also doing part two. The core aspect of all religions is for human beings to pursue their natural inclinations of wealth and love, carefully guided by virtue. In some religions, this is the sum total of its religious practice. However, in Hinduism, there is an important fourth pursuit, which in Sanskrit is named Moksha. Together, these four pursuits, called in Sanskrit Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, are referred to as the purusharthas, which means goals of the soul. Also called Chaturvarga, fourfold good, they form a cornerstone of Hindu ethics. And a question for you. As is commonly known, the fourth pursuit of moksha means liberation from rebirth on earth. Gurudeva described moksha in this way. This is his threefold definition of moksha we're looking for. Liberation comes when Dharma. So what's the rest of it? Liberation comes when Dharma. That's our puppy, German Shepherd, lives next door temporarily. Liberation comes when Dharma has been well performed. So we have to fulfill our duties well in the various roles in life we can play over many lifetimes. Okay, and again in the form of a question, all our karmas, what's the rest? All our karmas are resolved. Okay. And the third part, and God. What's the rest of the idea? God has been fully realized. So it's threefold is very important. Shows you we just can't do God realization by itself. We have to fulfill certain dharmas. And even if we have fulfilled the dharmas and we realize God, if we still have karmas remaining, we won't achieve moksha. So we have to work through the karmas. That's why some of the advanced practices are trying to accelerate our karma, as karma management says. Another way of stating God has been fully realized is for an individual to permanently reside in the highest states of divine consciousness. So it's not just a once in a lifetime experience, we need to reside there. Every morning we wake up there, every night we go to bed there. We reside all day long in this state of divine consciousness. To fully understand what this means, we can look at what the various states of human consciousness are. Imagine human consciousness as a ladder with 14 rungs. The lower rungs represent the lower states of consciousness, and the higher rungs represent the higher states of consciousness. An excellent understanding of these states is found in the Hindu system of the chakras. So we all know chakra means wheel, but metaphysically refers to any of the nerve plexuses or centers of force and consciousness located within the inner bodies of man, not in the physical body. In the physical body, there are corresponding nerve plexus, ganglia, and glands. 7 principal chakras can be seen psychically as colorful, multi-petaled wheels or lotuses. They are situated along the spinal cord from the base to the cranial chamber. Additionally, 7 chakras, barely visible, exist below the spine. They are the seats of instinctive consciousness, the origin of jealousy, hatred, envy, guilt, sorrow, etc. They constitute the lower or hellish world called Naraka or Patala. Thus, there are 14 major chakras in all. Their Sanskrit names and location in the human body is as follows. Plus, we have placed each on our ladder of consciousness as a rung. First rung, Patala, located in the soles of the feet, murder and malice. Really basic. Second rung, Mahatala, feet, absence of conscience. Coming up a bit. Third rung, Rasatala, ankles, selfishness. Fourth rung, Talatala, calves, prolonged mental confusion. Fifth rung, Sutala, knees, retaliatory jealousy. Not just jealousy, but retaliatory jealousy. And sixth rung, we're all the way up to the thighs in raging anger. Doesn't mean a little bit of anger. It means when someone gets so angry they might not even remember the next day. They just go into a rage. Seventh rung, Atala, hips, fear and lust. Eighth rung, Muladhara, base of spine, memory, time, and space. Ninth rung, Swadhisthana, below the navel, reason. 10th rung, Manipura, solar plexus, willpower. 11th rung, Anahata, heart center, direct cognition. 12th rung, Vishuddha, throat, divine love. 13th rung, Ajna, third eye, divine sight. 14th rung, Sarasvara, crown of head, illumination, godliness. The Hindu perspective is that over the course of many lives, a human soul gradually climbs the rungs of the ladder of consciousness. Thus, all souls start out in a lower criminal, selfish state and ultimately end up in an illumined state filled with divine light and love. This is a process that goes on automatically from life to life. That's why Gurudeva says everyone's on the spiritual path whether they realize it or not, because we're moving up the ladder of consciousness, even if we don't know anything about it. Can't help but do that. And another question. See if you remember this one. Gurudeva stated that everyone has a guru. What did he mean by that? Until one reaches the higher rungs on the ladder, one's guru is the world. Gurudeva named this guru Sri 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 Vishwaguru Maha Maharajji, gave this description. And there's our little quote, never stop learning because life never stops teaching. That's the idea, learning from life. Gurudeva, he does live up to his name in all ways, for Vishwa means everything and everyone in the world, and Guru, of course, means teacher. Maharaj is great ruler. Vishwa Guruji, as I call him, seemingly teaches so patiently, yet accepts no excuses and remains unforgivingly exacting in his lessons. Unlike other ashrams, here there are no apparent boundaries or clear-cut guidelines. Followers are free to do as they please. All classes are open to everyone, from the most refined studies to the most devious and low-minded. Most ashramites or bogis, mean people who enjoy, are swamped with so many subjects they struggle 24 hours a day and still never catch up. This is a very tough school, and the odd thing is enrollment is automatic. Even without applying for a course, you end up studying it. It's the default when the guidance of other gurus is rejected. Vishwa Guruji has many doors for entering his ashram and only one for exiting. Gradually, eventually, and it may take many lifetimes, everyone comes to see that he is leading them to an understanding that. This is a really beautiful statement here. Every freedom has its price, every action its reaction. That the path to perfection is up and up and up. So that's something that takes a while to learn. Every freedom has its price. Every action has its reaction. You think you can avoid it, you're so smart. In this upward climb in consciousness, at some point when an individual is starting to stand for short periods on the 11th rung of the ladder of consciousness, which is direct cognition, the process becomes a conscious one. So that's what we were talking about earlier. Everyone's on the spiritual path, either consciously or unconsciously. So at this point, it becomes conscious. That individual would say that he or she is interested in deepening one's spirituality, interested in striving to attain higher consciousness. At this point, it is natural to seek out a traditional Hindu guru for training in the yogas. Yogas are Hinduism's disciplines that one can practice to accelerate moving up in consciousness. Yes, so practice causes acceleration of practice of the yogas. So we know the yogas, bhakti, raja, karma, jnana. Don't have to explain them. Just let this slide play out. And as I said, the more you practice them, the sooner you are able to climb to the next rung on the ladder. Oh, that's a nice way of saying it. Rishi Patanjali points out another important aspect of how practice relates to progress in his Yoga Sutra 114, chapter 1, verse 14, which states that practice needs to be done with devotion and consistency for long periods of time. In other words, making spiritual progress happens slowly and, in fact, takes multiple lives. That's a very long period of time. In his song, The Yoga Path, Yoga Swami refers to this upward climb. The 6 steps first you must traverse. Then will come the silver step. If you surmount that too, my treasure, who will be your equal? Commentary gives this explanation. The 6 steps are the 6 higher chakras, and the 7th step, or the silver step, is the final stage before liberation. 7th chakra, the Sarasvara. Dhamma word for higher chakras is Adaram. And there are 6 of them. So in the Tamil system, there's not 7. There's 6 Adaras. So that's why the song says the 6 chakras, 6 Adaras. 7th, or Sarasvara, is not included as an Adaram. Tamil lexicon gives this definition. Adaram. Plexus in the body, of which there are 6. So in the word Muladhara, we have the same word, Adhara, support. In our modern world, there's a strong trend for individuals to be spiritual but not religious, referred to as SBNR. These individuals are interested in spirituality, such as experiencing higher consciousness, but are doing so outside the context of any of the major religions. One reason for this is that the knowledge that some religions have within them a strong tradition of spirituality is not that well known. So that's the point. We want to help spread the word. Hinduism has a strong tradition of spirituality within it. The Hindu concept of climbing the ladder of consciousness is definitely a concept of spirituality that can resonate well with many SBNRs. In his talk, Hinduism, the greatest religion in the world, Gurudeva gave this description of Hinduism's path of spirituality. No other faith boasts such a deep and enduring comprehension of the mysteries of existence, or possesses so vast a metaphysical system. In the West, it is a mystically awakened soul who is drawn to Hinduism for understanding of inner states of consciousness. Discovering after ardent seeking that Hinduism possesses answers which do not exist elsewhere, and is capable of guiding awareness into ever-deepening mind strata. Okay, this repeats what I already said. We can all help in making more broadly known the knowledge that Hinduism is a religion with a strong tradition of spirituality within it, and sharing with those interested in spirituality. The concept of climbing the ladder of consciousness can help effectively convey what is involved in the Hindu approach to experiencing higher consciousness and to eventually achieving moksha. So that's our parts 1 and 2. Second topic, looking at character qualities through the approach of positive psychology. As we know, they did research and came up with 6 universal virtues, in which 24 character strengths are categorized. Last week we completed the study of the 5 character strengths and the virtue of courage, which are bravery, persistence, honesty, and zest. And a summary of what we said before we go on. The virtue of courage is comprised of the ability to face your challenges, threats, or difficulties. Bravery. The ability to stick with what you start despite obstacles. Persistence. The ability to present yourself the way you are. Honesty. The ability to approach situations with excitement and energy. Zest. We have that in ours also, zest. Energetic, we call it. Be energetic. Moving on to the virtue of justice, which has 3 character strengths: teamwork, fairness, and leadership. First character strength is teamwork. And how would you define teamwork? Pretty self-evident. Teamwork means that in team situations you are committed to contributing to the team's success. The team could be a work group or a sports team, but it could also refer to your family, marriage, or even a group of friends working on a project together. A person high in teamwork applies a certain way of acting in whatever context they consider themselves committed to the good of the group as a whole. Most commonly, however, this strength refers to your being a dedicated, reliable, and contributing member to your small group or team. Take a moment to find an affirmation you could use to increase your teamwork. Positive psychology's suggestion for an affirmation is, I am a helpful and contributing group and team member and feel responsible for helping the team reach its goals. Suggested approach, research. In order to become a better team member, it is important to notice and express positive emotions. For example, gratitude, joy, humor, hope to other team members. In addition, it's important to take an open-minded and curious stance in understanding others' points of view as opposed to just advocating for one's own. So that's a real problem in many situations when you're overly attached to your own point of view and not really open to points of view of others. First exercise, volunteer for activities such as serving as a big brother or big sister or constructing a Habitat for Humanity house. Second exercise, help someone close to you set a goal and then periodically check on their progress. Third exercise, start a book club with family members, friends, or colleagues. Schedule a time to meet and discuss the selected books. Second character strength is fairness. How would you define fairness? Fairness is treating people justly, not letting your personal feelings bias your decisions about others. You want to give everyone a fair chance and believe there should be equal opportunity for all, though you also realize that what is fair for one person might not be fair for another. Okay, that's on the next slide there. Let that play out. Fairness is a cognitive judgment capacity that involves reasoning and making judgments. It involves 2 types of reasoning. It's interesting. Justice reasoning, which emphasizes logic and weighing principles to determine moral rights and responsibilities. Care reasoning, which includes empathy and compassion, the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes. Reflection. Take a moment to find an affirmation you could use to increase your honesty. I treat everyone equally and fairly and give everyone the same chance, applying the same rules to everyone. And suggested approach or research. Imagining the experiences and appreciating the differences of others can boost the strength of fairness. Perspective taking, cultural awareness, and sensitivity training and role-playing are ways to develop a more other-focused perspective, particularly when facing complex moral dilemmas. First exercise, self-monitor to see whether you think about or treat people of other ethnicities and cultures stereotypically. It's a word you don't normally say, stereotypically. That's something I bring up in my talks about tolerance, is you don't want to generalize about the people of different ethnicities or religions, cultures. For example, even positive generalizations. All Chinese are industrious. That's the stereotypical idea. Well, some of them aren't. So you want to see the individual's positive and negative qualities, and respect the person for who he or she is, not see a stereotype. Second exercise, the next time you make a mistake, self-monitor to see whether you admit it. Self-honesty. Third exercise, watch a film or a documentary which exemplifies fairness, social justice, and equity. For example, 12 Angry Men. And we got a last one. Leadership. How would you define leadership? Leadership can take on many forms. As a character strength, leadership refers to the tendency to organize and encourage a group to get things done while maintaining good relations within the group. Like teamwork, leadership involves being committed to the goals of the group, but how that commitment manifests. Okay, that's on the next slide again. Like teamwork, leadership involves being committed to the goals of the group. But how that commitment manifests itself is very different. Leadership involves setting goals and accomplishing them, enlisting effective help, building coalitions, and smoothing ruffled feathers. Reflection. Take a moment to find an affirmation you could use to increase your leadership. Positive psychology's suggestion for an affirmation is, I take charge and guide groups to meaningful goals and ensure good relations among group members. Two important qualities of leadership. And their suggested approach based on research. In addition to competently using one's strengths, leadership requires highly developed organizational skills. This takes planning and goal setting. First exercise. When two people are in an argument, mediate by inviting others to share their thoughts and emphasizing problem solving. Second exercise. Lead an activity, assignment, or project and actively solicit opinions from group members. Third exercise. Read a biography and/or watch a film of your favorite leader and evaluate how she inspires you in practical ways. Oh, very good. Thank you very much.